Where in the world is Nikola Jokic? Will he be back for the Mavericks game? Does it matter? Will the Nuggets beat the Mavericks? Will they beat the Lakers on the back-to-back? Plus, is Dario Saric playable now after being what Swipa thought was the worst player to ever touch a basketball? All that and more on Swipe and Gripe on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us, making us part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us here on a Friday, being with us Monday through Friday every day, or being an everydayer here with us on Locked On Nuggets. Make sure to go to youtube.com/Locked On Nuggets. Hit the like and subscribe. Best way to support the show. And we are closing in on 8,000 followers. We're trying to get this thing up to 10. I want to get 10,000 followers here by mid-season. So go ahead and head over to youtube.com/Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us again today. Today's show is brought to you by Robinhood. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available at only $5 per month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. My name's Matt Moore. I'm joined by Swipe. You can catch him on YouTube at SwipeAcam on YouTube after every single Nuggets game. I poked you in the intro and I didn't get a single, not a chuckle, not a smile, nothing from you today. Nothing.
Oh, you are the master of false narratives. So I never said he was the worst player of all time. I said that he's quite simply is not a Nuggets rotational player. But I will bet you the 3 championships for the Kansas City Chiefs that I will end up being right long term.
Okay. False narratives. Is that why Bo Nix is suddenly being talked about for Rookie of the Year? So
wait. You're on a Denver platform. He's clearly second.
Let's talk about Jokic. Okay. I'm going to explain. I'm not going to take you behind the curtain. I'm going to take you into the tunnel right in front of the curtain. Okay. Nuggets media cannot tell you what's going on with Jokic because it's a private matter, and to talk about it would be insensitive to the family. But the fact that we can't talk about it doesn't mean that it's bad. It means there could be any number of things that are happening in Jokic's life. New people could be arriving in his life. That's a thing that could be happening. The thing here, though, is that I noticed Adam kind of shared it like, hey, there's nothing to worry about. And then like I looked at his replies yesterday and it was like, something's up. Something bad is happening. And is Jokic wanting a trade? And what's going on? It's been too long. Like all of these types of things. And in the absence, I've stressed this to every PR department in the NBA that I've talked to. And I really do think it's true. In the absence of information, bad narratives will almost always fill the void. And it's okay because it's just like, there's a very good chance that Jokic is back literally in 3 hours. Like, unless I missed an update because I've been on a phone call, like literally in 3 hours, he could be back. And if he's not back today, very likely tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, then very, very likely on Monday. As of now, no one in Denver has heard anything to indicate that there is anything that is not supposed to be happening on certain timelines of a certain amount of months that are occurring. And so there's no reason to be concerned. So this is less of a, it is just really important that you not spend time feeding into any sort of idea that there is a problem with Nikola Jokic. Everything's cool. He's going to be back very soon with some good news.
Yeah. I saw some people on the timeline say, I've never seen someone be this out for this long for quote unquote, whatever the issue is, right? Positive issue. And I'm just like, you never had PTO for like, events in your life, like graduation, wedding, like you go to the wedding, you get married, and then you got to come right back to work. I think the NBA, because so much happens at once, I really thought about this. I work multiple jobs. I take PTO for my jobs. I have, for my main job, Matt, for the remaining of the year, I have 75 hours of PTO left that I haven't used. So, like, I don't get to use no PTO in the NBA. Like, if I got to, like, take care of my business, like, it's only a week, 2 weeks. Joker could be out for as long as he wants to be, respectfully. If he deserved it. 20, 21.
Hang on.
21,
hang
22.
on.
No. 20, 21, 22. No, I don't.
Hang on.
You went on a rant. I'm going on my pro employee rant.
I hear you. But, like, there's two things I object to there. One is you're like, well, he deserves it because he's really good. Wait, so, like,
said that.
But that's the implication here. It's like, no, like, everybody. That's the whole thing with the owner, with employees, right? It's like, if Dario Saric has got stuff going on, he could take PTO, right?
He can.
Okay.
For family related things, of course.
Yeah. And as long as he wants, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
Now the difference here, I think, is that like, if somebody is like, hey, you get paid $35 million to be available for these 82 nights, that is, like, there is a healthy amount of expectation, and, like, he is a public persona. I just wind up being like, it's fine, like, it's not a big deal. I think I guess, like, here's part of the equation that I really kind of get to is, like, what I will just say that as much as these games matter to fans and media and TV partners and all of these types, as much as they matter, like, no one's gonna remember it. Like, you're not gonna remember that the Nuggets lost to the Pelicans on Friday. Like, you won't remember it. It'll just be like, unless somebody specifically is like, hey, remember when Jokic was out because of this event that occurred in his life and they lost to the Pelicans? You'd be like, God, that sucked. Yeah. And that's, like, the only time that you'll remember it. Having been in what I believe is the situation that Jokic currently finds himself in, I will tell you that being present for that situation is oftentimes way more important than anything going on. You will not remember the work that you would have done. Like, if you choose to do the work, you won't remember that work. What you will remember is the time that you spent or did not spend in these particular family situations.
You know what, Matt? Can I just say this? I love that Matt. I think we all love that Matt. Chat, do we love that Matt? Empathetic Matt, understanding Matt, the Matt that's not caught up in delusions of grandeur, Kansas City Chief propaganda, memes. It's great. We should have this the rest of the show. Let's all just kind of just rest in this. Just Matt empathy. Wow, understanding, pleasantness.
I've been trying to figure out if we want to do swipe and gripe or swipe versus gripe, because I've gone head to head. I think it's better content when we go head to head here. And look, I do think that it's possible. What I try and balance with the NBA is I always want to be empathetic. Like, I want to balance empathy with accountability. And it's, that turns into a complicated question because from a player standpoint, it's like, who are you to be accountable? Like, why am I accountable to you? And my response would be like, you're not, but I'm supposed to be the conduit between the fans, who are what make the money, and you, who want the money. And that's all my job is to be the conduit between what the fans want and you. Like, that's the job, is to ask the questions. The fans are like, hey, why is this thing? Why doesn't this happen? Now, I don't do it the way that the fans always want, because they want me to be in there and be like, hey, Malone, why are you such a stupid person that didn't play this person I think is good? And that's not how it works. But I do think that there's, like, it's okay to hold players to standards. They're public personas. There's, like, a public persona that they take in. And if a player is gone for an unreasonable amount of time, I do think it's fair for fans to question it. I do not feel that a week, given the circumstances, is unreasonable. I feel like this is a reasonable amount of time for him to be gone.
Yeah, I think he can take another week if he wanted.
Okay. I will ask this. Is there a point where you would be like, that's a little unreasonable?
No, because these situations can be complicated. So yes, I never want to put a timeline on them.
For sure. I am assuming that this particular situation happened without any, I don't know, what's the word? Complications. Let's say that, like, right?
Sure.
So assuming that there's nothing to complicate the situation, which is obviously first and foremost the biggest thing. No one wants that. But, like, in that situation, what's like a reasonable amount of time for an NBA player to be absent? Because like the standard used to be like maybe that night and no more. And I think that's unreasonable.
Well,
I think
didn't we
it's
have
better
somebody miss an NBA Finals game because of a birth of a
I
baby?
feel like it, but I can't remember.
Yeah, Fred VanVleet had one right before the finals. I remember, I believe, in 2019. I mean, it depends on the situation. Early season, it's like, you know, you probably let me ask you this. Who's your favorite player in the league right now? I don't even know. Jaren Jackson Jr. or something. I don't know. Who's your favorite player right now?
Gosh.
Biased, that you're biased toward.
Ooh, that's a good question. Oh, Tyrese Halliburton. Been a rough 2 months for us over here.
This version of Tyrese Halliburton probably gets a day off.
Honestly, it's probably like Franz. Franz is probably the guy. It's probably like,
okay.
Like,
so after Franz hits a 37-point, 11 assist game versus your second least favorite team of all time, the LA Lakers. If he had a situation rise up where he was taking care of personal matter, how long do you think he should get off for like a relatively normal situation?
Relatively normal. I mean, see, that's the whole thing here is like, this situation isn't like a bereavement, right? A bereavement, I'm much more like, I don't know, man, that's trauma. And so I'm like, if it's 3 weeks, it's 3 weeks. I'd say like a month, I think is probably like when I would start to be like, all right, probably time to go back to work is probably like where I would.
If this us really just, or I guess us trying to like break away from American exceptionalism and then be like, you know, like more village oriented community. Like, you know what, we are all responsible for each other.
Hey, and look, what do we owe each other, right? And like also like, hey, if Jokic needed people to help him with this particular situation, to care for certain individuals, I'm sure the fans would line up at the door to help him out. So
I'm not gonna lie to you. Could you imagine? Oh, by the way, I think my agenda for this goes as far as I'm leaving the American exceptionalism port. But when it starts to get to be like, you know, if he missed something where you would have to play almost every game to get to like 71 games for that MVP boost in the agenda, then I'd be like, all right, you know, Joker.
I wouldn't. I would actually be like, you should miss a few more games and make sure you can't get there. The last thing I'll kind of say is it's tough because what I don't want is like we deal with like the fans freaking out, but that's less important than the privacy of Joker. So like I've made illusions here, but I do think it's really important to respect the privacy of players. This is like a complicated thing because like I said, they do exist in this. They are a public persona and their lives are of interest to many people with many different factions, but they also do not surrender that right to privacy because of their status.
Yeah.
It complicates their privacy, but it does not mean that they surrender that. And I do think it's important to be respectful of that.
I mean, we literally talk about their income like on a daily basis.
Well, and like here's another thing is like the thing that we're not talking about, the standard in Colorado is 6 weeks for theoretically for men. So it's like technically speaking, he's owed 6 weeks. But he'll probably be back tonight, and then we'll move on from this conversation. But I did want to kind of get into that real quickly. On the other side, we'll preview the Mavericks and the Lakers game. Tough 2-game set for the Nuggets. We'll talk about it if Nikola is available and if he's not. And then later on, so Dario, I guess, is playable now. We'll talk about that later on here on Locked On Nuggets. I wish I gotten more serious about finances when I was younger. So I was really bad with money in my 20s. I was really bad with money, and I wound up racking up a bunch of debt, and it took me a long time to get that stuff straight. You've got to make smart decisions sooner than you think you do. It's always like, I can handle that later. If you do it earlier, you're going to be in a much better position later on. We've all hit a point where we realized it was time to make serious money moves. Take control of your finances by using a Chime checking account with features like no maintenance fees, fee-free overdraft up to $200, or getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. You can learn more at chime.com/NBA. Overdrafts used to absolutely just kill me. It was a huge problem for me in my 20s when I was just trying to get by. And it was like times when I was like, okay, I'm going to kind of like coast in my truck to the half-price books down the street so I could sell some CDs to get gas money in cash because I literally am overdrafted already. Don't let that happen to you. Chime helps you make progress with free fee-free overdraft up to $200. Your next deposit is applied to your balance. Get spotted on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. No monthly fees or maintenance fees. Over 500,000 free ATMs for members. Eligible members get complimentary boost to temporarily increase a friend's spot me limit. When you give a boost, they boost you back to temporarily raise your limits. Make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/NBA. That's chime.com/NBA. Chime feels like progress. We're also brought to you today by Gametime. Got the best kind of tickets for any sort of game that you want to catch, whether you want to catch the Avs, the Nuggets, if you want to catch theater. There's so many great holiday shows coming in. There's so many cool shows coming into the Performing Arts Center in Denver. You can get all tickets to all those with Gametime. They've got customize your spot, which obviously gets you like a super deal. There's all this cool stuff in there. You can do the all-in pricing I've talked about before, the lowest price guarantee. They're going to credit you 110% of the difference if you find a better deal. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON Nuggets for you $20 off your first purchase. Sorry, it's Locked On NBA. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it, Swipa?
Game time.
We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here at Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Probably hope you're having a good Friday. I am discombobulated today. I am not in my team. My one of my teams hadn't lost in like 16 straight games, and that ended, and so that's upsetting. So,
which team? The team that won 2 weeks ago, or the team that lost last week?
No, lost last week. So let's talk about the Mavericks game here. Let's assume Jokic is going to be back for this, because it's like if Jokic is out, then like, yeah, they're probably going to get like, would you expect them to win either of these games if Jokic is out?
Versus the horrific defense Lakers? Yes. This funny thing. They could, yeah.
Could, but would you expect them to? I agree they could, but would you
I would expect the Lakers to choke like they did yesterday.
They did choke. Anthony Davis missed that game winner by a country mile.
Yeah, like, LeBron missed a free throw, AD missed 2, Reeves missed some. You know.
Again, just want to stress how much of an absolute luck box that 2020 Western Conference Finals Game 2 was that Mason got killed for. That was an absolute luck box that he had that shot. That's a shot you want Anthony Davis taking.
Change that series? Did that change the outcome of the series?
No,
One game 3.
I think the Lakers win, but I think that everything, it looks a lot different if that shot doesn't go in. If that shot misses like it should have. So the Mavericks preview, let's talk about with Jokic. Jokic used to absolutely annihilate Gafford in the post. They're starting Lively now, which I think is kind of interesting. I will say off the bench, I'm very concerned about the Gafford minutes. The Nuggets have been so bad in the paint, and the Mavericks, especially without Luka, are really attacking the paint. Kyrie has been on one, and I don't know how they're going to defend this. In isolation, you can put Christian on him, but once you put him in pick and roll action, it's going to be bad. And we kind of saw that in the last Mavericks game, where Christian he's going to struggle with these quick guards that are good at pick and roll situations, because Christian's young and still learning to navigate those mechanisms. I think Christian's a better ISO defender than KCP, but KCP was really good. By the way, shout out to KCP, who had his 5th kid. He missed a game the other night because his 5th was born.
Same timeline, right? Yeah, so, that's right. Yeah,
yeah. So, and that one actually was reported on. So KCP goes like around the screen a lot better. So Kyrie's probably going to have another huge game. I don't know if he'll be as red hot as he was in that last game, but that's a real problem. And then Gafford, I think, is going to really be a problem in those second minutes. PJ Washington's also playing really bad or really well since he came back. So that's like a struggle with the starting unit with Aaron Gordon out. I got to tell you, like, I think even if Jokic plays, like, I think the Mavericks probably get revenge tonight.
Yeah, I think they could. The Mavs have also been dropping stuff lately, and there's no Luka tonight. Their defense should be good. Are we going to get 27 and 17 from PJ Washington tonight?
Probably not.
Well, really, it just depends on like the bench unit. Like, are they running Dario, does Dario get good minutes tonight? That's going to be tough versus Lively and Gafford. Does DJ get good minutes tonight? That's going to be tough versus Lively and Gafford. If Jamal Murray comes out and he plays as well as he did last game, what do you think?
It's a nail biter at the end.
Yeah, I think so. And then they lose.
But that's kind of my point here. Is I'm talking about if Jokic plays, that you need a big Jamal night in order for you to be close in it at the end. And it's like if Luka doesn't play, I'm telling you, like they're plus 2.4 net rating with Luka not on the court. And Luka is great, but Luka has not been awesome this season. He's been relatively inefficient. And I am not saying they're better. I am saying that without Aaron Gordon and with where the Nuggets are at, I think that this is a pretty even matchup, even with Luka out.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, well, I'd even say they probably have the advantage just without Aaron Gordon. That's probably a big deal. If Aaron Gordon was here, I think the game would swing a little bit differently. But I do think the Nuggets are going to struggle, probably scoring more so than anything else. But we'll see. If Michael Porter has another great game and then Murray has another great game, I do think they can pull it out and win. But it's going to be the late game execution. What are they going to do the last 3 minutes of the game when they need to score? Like, is this just going to be Jamal Murray ISOs versus Kyrie, getting PJ off of him? You know, who knows?
Jokic is still listed as questionable on the latest injury report, by the way. So there's been no, as far as I know, there's been no injury. There's been no update. If you in the chat segment here on Locked On YouTube.com/Locked On Nuggets have heard something different, let me know. But I think it's entirely possible Jokic is back tonight. Again, this is not like a, hey, I mean, I'm not trying to tip you off here of like, hey, he might play, which is code for I know he's going to, I don't know. I do not know. I personally don't think anybody knows. I'm not even sure the Nuggets know. He might just walk in the building and be like, I'm good. Like, hey guys, what's up? The Lakers game. AD's playing incredibly well. Their offense really is great. Like the Lakers have a great offense. That defense is garbage with Mr. I'm actually the DPOY Anthony Davis on the floor. It's considerably worse. That matchup though, Jokic or no Jokic, I think it's tough on the road on a back-to-back versus an offense that good. They're going to be up for that game.
The Lakers will be?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were the first good team they've beaten this year. You know, I think that like the issue is that the Nuggets are, when Jokic is on the court, they have been cooking lately. They have been really good. And they've been mostly good on mostly offense, but their defense has still been good, like down the stretch of games. You know, I don't like the Dalton Connect, Austin Reeves duo they're starting now. You know, if they roll out with that, then having LeBron, I mean, Cam Reddish, you know, whatever. The Lakers have a bad bench. They can't guard anybody. As soon as you bring Anthony Davis up, we actually talked about this on Player's Choice today. As soon as you bring Anthony Davis up in a pick and roll, they have no backline defense whatsoever.
None.
Rerun to the basket. Like,
also, he can't really contain, but that's something that we're not going to talk about because nobody wants to talk about it.
Well, he did have a bad game versus Batazzi yesterday. So I mean, I get it. Like, but I just think that for overall, like the Lakers literally cannot get stops. They cannot get stopped. Their whole point is outscoring you. And so for the Nuggets with Joker, they can outscore them easily with Joker. Without Joker, no. Dario Saric would get might get 40 and 15 put up on him tomorrow if he has to play that without no Joker. LeBron's also shooting really well, shooting 43% from three again this year. Austin Reeves has played well for most of the year, did not play well yesterday. D'Lo's been good off the bench. Some of their best lineups include D'Lo this year, even though people have like kind of been down on its overall season. But yeah, I mean, the Lakers are going to be a tough matchup just because they can just get into a lot of different actions. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Keep going.
Yeah, but I even think with LeBron, man, like LeBron controlling the game, if he decides to, if he has the energy to in the second half, that's going to be a big deal if versus the second unit. And so they're just going to have to find some favorable matchups and win those minutes with that AD are on the court. That's going to be big, winning the minutes when he is on the court. And that way, when you have your starters off and LeBron comes onto the court, they're going to win those minutes with the Lakers more than likely. So you just have to find ways to mitigate how effective Anthony Davis is going to be over the course of a game. But again, that's also a game that I think is going to be easier for them to win than tonight.
I think the opposite. I think tomorrow's pretty tough with being on the road on back-to-back. The D'Lo thing is killing me because it's like for somebody that's like, hey, plus minus is like a good indicator of things. And then it's like, oh yeah, D'Lo is the most important player on the Lakers. Wah, wah. But I mean, it is what it is. Like they've been good in his minutes. A lot of it's just like Seth Partnow was texting me about this. He was saying, He's like, look, when AD's on the floor, opponents are shooting like 45% from three. And then when he's not on the floor, they're shooting like 20% from three from the corners. Is that him or is that just like luck? And it's just luck. It's probably accurate. I think I will give. I do think that there's a possibility they go 0-2 here. Because I do think these teams are like, I'm higher on the Lakers than you are. I think they're still really good, even with the defense being where it is. I still think they're really good.
For numbers, if you're a numbers guy, Dunks and Three said they're literally a mid team, like a mid.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah, I've got them higher because their half court stuff is really good.
Yeah,
but like they get killed in transition.
Yeah, their defense is horrific. Like again, it's bottom 4, I believe, right now in the league. It's horrific.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad for sure. But their offense is top 5, so it's really weird. All right, on the other side, we'll talk about Dario Saric in the bench unit, and as the Nuggets continue to try and find answers, what that means, especially with Vlatko Čančar's injury. We'll talk about that next here on Locked On Nuggets. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Final segment here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us. Being with us here on a Friday, Swipe and Gripe. We will do a post-game show tonight after the Nuggets game versus the Mavericks, and then again tomorrow night after the game versus the Lakers. Be on the lookout for those weekend episodes. And then Sunday, right back at it with no jinx. Go to youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets and subscribe. Go do it. Also, check out the newsletter. You can check it out at LockedOnDaily.com. We've got like recaps from episodes, the best quotes from the week. We do the 10-piece after the Nuggets games. We've got all sorts of cool stuff Monday through Friday. So go check that out at LockedOnDaily.com. Swipa, is Dario Saric now playable after 2-3 really good games from him in the absence of Joker? He played next to the starters, which complicates it a little bit. Is Dario now playable again?
Sure. Regular season, you need minutes. You need somebody that can contribute. Sure. I mean, Zeke Naji obviously has not been good.
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan probably can't play consistently. So what other option do you have? Vlatko's hurt. Hunter Tyson can't play 5. There's a dude named, I think it's DeRon Holmes, that they drafted that's hurt and injured. They really literally don't have any other better options. So
for a team with really serious depth issues, realizing that 2 of their forwards are forward/centers are on the shelf for likely the entire year. With Dario, it's undecided. Or sorry, not Dario. With Vlatko, it's undecided.
Yeah.
That's bad luck. That's a bad break for them.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. I mean, Dario, he has some good things he can do. I just think the problem is he played versus a team that can take advantage of his lack of like foot speed, like defensive anchoring, switching. That's just going to be a really big issue. But again, he was a good passer. He had some good rebounds. He had some really important 3 versus Memphis. I think in limited minutes, I think he can have an impact on the team. But again, I just don't like the idea. I've said this consistently, Matt. The best bench unit that's worked for the Nuggets in this era is when you have like Jamal Murray, Bruce Brown, like KCP, Jeff Green, and Zeke Naji, and you switch everything, or Aaron Gordon, and you switch everything, and you run in transition, and you lock up in half-court defense. That's just what they are. They're just not a good enough drop team without it. So, I think Dario can provide some really stabilizing minutes in the regular season, but again, I'm not getting my hopes up for it. If he shoots well, that's another thing. Like, he has to shoot the ball well, I think, to make up for some of the deficiencies that are there.
Did you at least like kind of start to see what the plan was when those minutes?
Yeah, I got it when they signed Russ. When the 2-man game with Russ, the 2-man game with Julian Strawther, the passing. Yeah, I mean, I get the idea. I get the plan. I just didn't necessarily agree with it. But again, Dario has things he does well. He's an NBA player. but I just think he really is just. It cannot be like 2 out of every 3 games he plays. It's like 8 minutes and it's a -12, -11 because there are just some lapses in judgment, lapses in finishing, lapses in defensive foot speed. And then we're just doing the whole project all over that we're doing with Zeke already. But now just there's no like upside defensively. So I think he can do it. I think he can be better for sure.
Where are you at with Zeke right now?
I just think Zeke needs the new location, bro. I just think Zeke needs a new situation. I think he needs new coaching, new staff. I think he needs new opportunities. I think he needs a fresh breath of air. It's just that because of the expectations he's had, because of I think the ups he's had been really good. Like, oh man, like Zeke looks good preseason this year. Zeke looks good. Last year, Memphis game, Zeke looks really good. But then it's just the downside of it is like Coach Malone clearly doesn't trust him as he wants to. He tries, but then Zeke comes in the game for 5 minutes and he's a -15. It's like you can't do that. Like the end of in the second half versus Memphis, you're giving up offensive rebounds like to smaller players. You can't do it. Like you have to be able to finish these small things in securing rebounds, switching well, boxing out, cutting. And then when you do get an open shot, shoot it. And then if it goes in, it goes in. That's all like play finishing stuff. That's like you can't necessarily control where the ball goes all the time. But you can always control where you are, where you're positioned, and how you're thinking through the game. And I think Zeke, I don't know if it's nerves or I don't know if it's just there's just like juju because of like all the stuff that's going on with the team and everything. I just don't think he has the confidence that he needs. And so I want better for him because he has skill. He like has the talent to do it. But we've never been able to get it out of him consistently. And Peyton Watson, longer stretches. He's in his 3rd year, really 2nd year playing. Christian Brown, 3rd year playing. Julian Strother, 2nd year playing. Hunter Tyson even like has shown like even though there are some clear ceiling things there, you've even been able to see him do it, and you could see the idea and the vision. Zeke is just I just think he needs a new situation.
I would agree. I agree with that. All right. Oh, one more. Who's gonna be the best bench player this weekend? Friday and Saturday games. Who's gonna be the best bench player?
Oh, Russ. Yeah, Russell. Easy. What about you?
I'm gonna keep going, Julian. I'm a Julian Strother. I'm a Julian Strother truther. That's what I am.
Love that.
All right, that's gonna do it for Swipe and Gripe with you on a Friday. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. We'll see you after the game for a post-game show, bonus episode. Then tomorrow night for the same. Then No Jinx on Sunday, and we're right back at it. Thanks for joining us. Let us know in the comments how you think the Nuggets will do versus the Mavs and Lakers. We'll see you guys again next time here on Locked On Nuggets.